So let's see what the reasons are that people might fail in any business. In our business, for example, there's people who have failed, right? You can't say that 100% of anybody has been successful in any particular business. So we'll tell you the facts, guys. We're not hiding anything. We want you to know that this may not be for you. And that may be because you don't understand how big this industry is to start with. Look at this chart here that we found from healthcarefinance.com. This was back in January, as you can see up here at the top, and it's the healthcare spending by category in the United States. Look at this, guys. Physician and clinic services spending was $614 billion in November of 2015. And look at this. It's a huge market there. Hospitals, physicians, and clinical is 20% of that huge piece of the pie. And so you can just tap into that. Imagine what little tiny slice you would need of $614 billion to have a very successful business. By the way, people ask us if you can do dental billing. I use this slide to kind of point out there how small the dental area is. It's only 4% of the entire market. Very small. There are ways that you can do billing for dentists, but believe me, it's not something that's very profitable. So we tell people we're going to teach you how to go after the most profitable slice of the pie there, the physician and clinical billing. And then once you've got all the money that you need and you have all the doctors signed up in your area, we'll show you how to go after the dentist if that's what you want. Okay, here's Gus. He's from Hollywood, Florida, and he's just checking in. He says, thank you for doing that. All right, this is an article from that same healthcarefinance.com. You notice it's January also of this year. And I point this out because some people are wondering, how big is this market? If you've never heard this term outsourcing, that's what it means when a doctor takes the billing from his own staff and moves it to outsource it outside the office. And as you can see, this headline says revenue cycle outsourcing to surge in the next 5 years. And that's a good window of opportunity for you, right? If you're getting into a business, it's good to get into something that's going to surge. And the subheading there says providers are increasingly outsourcing to ensure maximum collections and changing payment models. There's lots of things changing in this industry. We, of course, keep up on that and keep you up on that, and that's why it's a good reason to be a part of American Business Systems. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. This is a quote from that article now. We're kind of zooming in here. It says the revenue cycle management outsourcing market in the United States will grow by 15% over the next 5 years. So, folks, it's going to grow 15%. Any business that you're looking at getting into, make sure that there is a projected growth in that business. And then, of course, it goes on to say that reimbursements and collections and healthcare service providers will continue to outsource to third-party vendors. Why? To avoid the gaps and inefficiencies leading to the loss of revenue. It's all about the bottom line's the money, right? So we help doctors get more money faster into their practice. That's what we do. That's what we teach you how to do. I mean, because we don't do billing as a company. We started back in 1987, my wife and I, doing medical billing. And then at some point, we had people asking us, how did you get to the point where you were so successful? We developed a training program and marketing materials to show people how to duplicate our success. And that's what's happening right now. I got something running here in the background. I'm going to stop this because it's taking up some bandwidth here. Okay, so let's move on here to the next slide. Now, why do people fail? Well, here's 3 main reasons. If you're not looking at the screen right now, shame on you. If you're doing your email, what are you thinking? This could affect your entire future if you get into our business. Look at this slide. Look, just this one slide. That's all I ask. Look, here it is. It says, don't be a statistic, because, folks, we know that there are lots of businesses in the United States started every year, right? And many of them fail. And here's the reason why people fail in business in general, but specifically this business as well. And it's three things. Number 1, they try to reinvent the wheel. Number 2, it's product differentiation that is the reason people don't fail. They don't have any product differentiation. And number 3, they don't know what they don't know. So let's look at each one of these separately and see how it applies to this particular business. Now, you've heard this term before, don't reinvent the wheel. Believe it or not, there are people who think that something is better than what we have. In other words, they get into our business, they go through our week-long training workshop, and then they go out and try to do something completely different from what we taught them. That's one of the reasons why people fail, is they just don't know how to follow instructions. And they don't realize that we call ourselves American Business Systems for a reason. Over the last 22 years, we've worked out a system for people to be successful in the medical billing business. And so it's not just, reinventing the wheel in just having a different way of going out and marketing. It's also the fact that they try to reinvent the wheel and offer services that are not really specific to helping the doctor with their cash flow. I told you that all these boxes in this illustration here illustrate different services that we've got for you as an ABS licensee that you'll learn all about in our week-long live training workshop. And we'll teach you exactly what these are and how these fit in to the doctor's revenue cycle. We can increase the doctor's revenue, folks, in some cases up to 20 and 30%. Now let that sink in for a minute, because some doctors bill $100,000 a month. What if we could increase that 20% even? That is more money in their pocket, and they're willing to pay big bucks for somebody who's been trained, like you will be as an ABS licensee, to go out and get more of that money from the insurance companies and from Medicare and from the patients even who don't know, that they should be paying their bills. All right. So ABS has a complete system to launch your business. This is why you won't fail in our business, because folks, look, here are 8 things that we've worked out for you and given you the exact things that you need to be successful in this business. We go into marketing in detail. We have demos that we do for your prospective doctors. Our company does the demos for you, for your doctors, so they can see the value of our system and how leading edge it is. Our unlimited support, that's right, unlimited forever. As long as you're an ABS licensee, you get our support at no cost. We give you all the marketing tools, as I'll show you in a moment, that we've developed for you. We have all the contracts, the proposals. The training is ongoing, not just a week-long workshop I keep mentioning, but after you've gone through the workshop, we continue to train you. Just about every week, we'll have another new hour-long webinar like this one, but usually it's on Fridays for our licensees. So you get that training at no extra cost. And then coaching. Let's say at some point you go through our workshop, you go out and you're not sure what you're doing, and you need some hand-holding. We have people who can coach you step by step through that process, folks. And using the technology that you're seeing here today, allowing us to see, well, I can't see you guys, but you can see me, right? And it is live, and so we're using the technology that we have available to us to help our licensees. So let's talk about those marketing pieces I told you about. We have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, folks, developing those professional-looking, slick, glossy postcards and flyers that you can imagine that make you really look like a professional, not somebody that just started a business in their spare bedroom and found some stuff on the internet, how to create a flyer and printed some stuff on their inkjet printer, right? This is professional stuff, and you can have your own name and logo printed right on these marketing materials as well. So this is why people fail. They try to reinvent the wheel by creating their own marketing flyers and things that they think are better than what we've developed over the last 22 years. Folks, we've proven that these flyers and postcards work in helping you to get clients. That's why you won't fail in our business. Now, I mentioned the support earlier, folks, and the fact that it's lifetime support. One of the things that I didn't mention is that we give you access to a licensee support site. Once you've gone through our week-long training, you'll have access. Well, in fact, as soon as you do your paperwork, even before you come to the workshop, we'll give you access to this site. There are hundreds of documents and training webinars and videos and audio files that you can download and watch online just for our licensees. Folks, I've had people come through my training that have bought in the past a franchise and paid, $500,000 for it. And they said, Patrick, that franchise didn't have what you guys have for your licensees. Well, that's because we've modeled our business, folks, so that we make money on all of the services that you offer to the doctors. We're nice guys, and we want to support you, but one of the reasons we support you is because we continue to make money even after you've given us your initial licensing fee for coming through our live training workshop. So that's ongoing. It's lifetime support. We used to limit that to 1 or 2 years. Now it's lifetime. As long as you're an ABS licensee and processing claims, we're making a few pennies on those claims behind the scenes. So we will support you and help you get as many clients as you wish. You can build this, folks, as you saw from some of the slides, if you got them in there earlier, people have got several hundred doctors. So you can build it as big as you want, although you only need about a handful to make a good six-figure income. All right, anyway, that's all available to you. We have toll-free phone support, of course, email, and even live online chat on this site. Okay, so here's another reason why people fail. They don't know where to begin when it comes to developing their contracts, their agreements between them and the doctors. And they leave out very important things that cause them to fail. We have developed and spent literally thousands of dollars with our attorneys coming up with dozens of documents that you'll need to run your business. We know what works, and we continually update and change those documents as we need to, as rules and regulations change and so forth. Again, folks, it's 22 years of experience doing this. So why will you not fail? In our business, we're going to give you the right tools, things that will actually help you be successful in the business. Now, I see some questions coming into the box. One of them is Tim. He says, so can I truly grow this business as large as I want? Say I have 200 clients that I'm looking for and 50 people working for me. Will I have to pay more for more people to access the system that work for me? Oh, all right, so let me separate that. First of all, Tim, yes, you can have as many clients as you wish, as many doctors, as many medical practices. There are no territories, so you can build this nationwide. As again, if you got on early and saw some of the slides there, some of the testimonials, people have clients across several states. So you can build it as big as you wish. You can open extra offices. You can go as big as you want and hire as many people as you want. And no, it doesn't cost you any more to have extra people on the system. We don't charge you. Look, folks, I decided a long time ago that once you've paid your licensing fee, we don't need to nickel and dime you to death on user fees and software update fees and support fees and training fees. All that's all inclusive. So there are no additional charges for as many people as you want to put on the system. Tim, you're in charge of that once you sign up a doctor. Okay, and let's see. Here's one from Umar. Umar says, how many licensees and docs do you have? Well, let me just put it this way. We have licensees from coast to coast, Umar. Now, that doesn't mean that all of those licensees are out there doing anything right now to grow their business. I said earlier that you can have literally a handful of doctors and make a six-figure income in this business. And we've got licensees that I've interviewed. You can watch the interviews on our website that will say that. Look, I only have 6, 7 doctors and I'm making a six-figure income. Now, that doesn't mean that you might not want to grow bigger than that, but if that's all you want, that's all you need, your marketing is done. So even though we've been doing this for 22 years, there's probably only 300 or 400 licensees from coast to coast that are actually out doing any kind of marketing. So it's a very small group of people for a huge market. There's almost 1 million medical providers in the United States. In any given area, you cannot handle all the business. We've got a dozen licensees probably in any given major metropolitan area like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and none of them ever complain about running across another licensee. There's just too much business out there. That's why we have licensees who are willing to talk to you. They don't care. There is no competition in their heads. They don't care because they know they can get all the clients that they want. As far as doctors, that's proprietary information. I don't share that with anybody because if you think about it, I'm actually sharing information about how many licensees have signed up, how many doctors. You can do the math and figure that out. But let me just say this. We process millions of claims every week for thousands of doctors from coast to coast. Doesn't mean we've got every doctor signed up out there. Remember, if there's 1 million, and I even had 10% of the market, which we don't, that'd be only 100,000. There's 900,000 more that you need to go out there and sign up, right? Okay, anyway, let's move on. Next slide. Live demos. Now, folks, here's why other medical people who start their own medical billing business, let's say you go out on the internet, you find a site that'll train you. Maybe you want to become a biller or maybe even take a course in coding. If you think you need to know coding, which you don't in this business, our system has all the codes in it. But anyway, the point is that you could go out and start your own business, but you don't have the ability to say to a doctor, let me show you the latest in technology. I have people at my office that can do a live demo for you. Using GoToMeeting, we connect with your computer at your office and show you exactly how leading edge software using our system and letting us do your billing can increase your revenue by up to 30%. Now, folks, there's no selling when it comes to money, right? If I told you that I would give you a $5 for every dollar that you gave me, how many dollars would you give me, right? So that's the way our licensees look at it when they go out and do what's called a practice analysis that we teach them how to do with the doctor's office. Usually it's with the office manager. We'll show you how to get information out of them that then lets you go back and make a proposal to them. Then you set up what's called a live demo. And illustrated here on this slide, you can see that the doctor and his staff are in their office. Sometimes you're there with them, sometimes you're at home. And we, on the right-hand side there, our technical demo people are actually doing the demo for the doctor. And get this, whatever questions are asked during that demo, we're answering them for you. Now, you can be on there, of course, or you could be there at the doctor's office even. And you'll hear the answers to all those questions. But we're doing that for you so you don't get stuck on anything, right? That's one of the reasons people fail. They get asked questions by doctors they can't answer. Yeah, they get asked questions by doctors they can't answer. And how does that make them look? How professional is that, right? So we're there to answer all the questions. And folks, we do these live demos every day. We've got 5 or 6 people full time that's all they do is these demos for our licensees. And almost half of all the doctors who watch these demos engage with our licensees. So it's a valuable tool. There's no price that you could put on that right there alone, folks. I would pay $25,000 for. If I were starting a medical billing business, I'd give you $25,000 if you would just do those live demos showing the technology that I'm going to be using to do the doctor's billing. That's what we do for you. And there's no cost for that. No, ever, never. Wow. Let me get a drink here. Okay, you can see that even after 22 years, I'm still pretty pumped up on this business. All right, next, professional tools. I mentioned these earlier, but folks, we have all kinds of things available to you as an ABS licensee. Proposal brochures and folders and manuals and documents of all kinds and flyers and postcards. Folks, again, we've spent thousands of dollars developing the things that can make you successful. Why do most people fail in business? They don't have those kinds of tools. Hey, you may have heard of a friend or a relative who started their own medical billing business, working out of their bedroom in their pajamas, and they failed. At some point, they closed down. Why? Because they didn't have the right tools. You can't spend. Well, you could spend as much as I spent, but why do that when I've already done it? Why reinvent the wheel? Get it? We've already invented the wheel. We've created it for you. We spent the money already. You don't need to do that. Look, we've even spent money. This thing costs $5,000. This is a trade show booth. Now, part of our training, we teach about a dozen different ways to do marketing in our live training workshop. Well, one of the ways we teach is to do trade shows and conventions. And you can even, we have a desktop version of this too, that you can set up even in a chamber of commerce or another networking group meeting. Just put it on a table. These are great, folks, because you simply stand there and wait for other people to come to you and engage with you. And doctors go to all kinds of trade shows, by the way. They don't have to be medically oriented trade shows. Many of our licensees have engaged with doctors at other types of trade shows. Look, there's auto shows, there's home and garden shows. You've been to those trade shows where you walk around all the booths. That's all you do is stand there and wait for them. Look, doctors are just human beings, right? They go to these trade shows of all kinds. And when they see your booth and are thinking about their revenue cycle, they're going to engage with you. You notice there's no name. Our company name is not on here. We loan this out to you at no cost. As a licensee, you have this available anytime you want. You just pay for the shipping. Okay. So there's one of the reasons why you won't fail. You're going to get tools like this one that we've spent thousands of dollars developing. And I mentioned earlier the proposals. Now, folks, I know that's kind of hard to see on your screen there. But basically, we have the proposals already created for you. Very professional looking proposals. You just add your logo at the top and your information at the bottom and change a few things in there to fit your circumstances for that particular doctor's office. So we're going to help you with those proposals. As you do those practice analyses that I mentioned earlier, we'll show you exactly how to do those during the training. When you do those, you fax those or email those back into our support department, and we'll go over that with you. We don't want to leave money on the table, and yet we don't want to price so high that you don't get the account. So that's part of what you're paying us for, is we're going to give you that hand-holding through that process. We want the account as bad as you do. Why? We're partners with you. Remember, we make money on the transactions that go through the system, just like you do. Now, it's a very tiny, it's just pennies on each transaction, but those pennies mount up. All right, I see some questions coming here, so I'm going to look up here and see if I can address some of these. Fred says, I travel a lot. Can I do this business on the internet from remote control? Yes. Fred, now you are going to find this hard to believe, but I had a couple one time who came through our training and owned an RV, and they traveled all over the country in that RV, just, vacationing, basically, and, John was driving down the road, I guess, and Mary was in the back with a satellite connection so that they could get internet, doing this business from an RV. Yes, this can be done from anywhere. We have people ask, what happens if I want to take off and take a vacation and go somewhere for a week or 2 or 3 or a month? It's fine. You can run this business anywhere there's an internet connection. As long as you can get a Wi-Fi connection to the internet, you can do this business with a laptop and a cell phone. That's basically all it takes, really, folks. Nowadays, you don't need a fax machine. You can set up an e-fax, get it by email. You can do everything right over the internet. So it's a great portable business. In fact, if you start your business up in one city, Fred, and you want to move somewhere else, it doesn't matter. The doctors you're doing the billing for, as long as you're doing a good job for them, they don't care where you're at because you've already proven to them that you can collect their money. Now let's see. Oh, here is Umar. He says, I was looking at a recorded webinar, and one of the licensees told us he's using QuickBooks and another software for invoicing. Doesn't your software have the option for printing invoices for a selected period? Well, let me explain it this way. In our software, Umar, you can actually get the data that you need to bill the doctor. But our billing software is for billing Medicare and insurance companies, not doctors. That's a completely different function. So for $50, you get QuickBooks, and you generate your invoices. But you get the data to generate the invoices from our system. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Okay, and Bo says, so for live demos at physician offices, how flexible is the ABS team with scheduling? There will be times when a physician will be available far sooner than anticipated. Yes, well, we do ask, Bo, that you give us a week's notice. That's what we ask for. Set that up with the doctor for a week from today. Like if you're visiting with them today, say, look, I'll set this up so this time, on Wednesday of next week at this time, we'll do the demo. Will that work for you? Now, if it doesn't, we can work with you. We can almost guarantee that you can get a demo just about any time a week away. But if it's closer, if they want the demo tomorrow, we've got people who can work with you. We encourage you to try to think ahead, but if you need to, we do have people that can, on a moment's notice, right here in our offices here in Fort Worth, we can actually do those demos for you anytime. Yeah. All right, and let's see. Here's Ram. He's saying, what is the most pessimistic time to get the first contract? Well, pessimistic would be, I don't know, pessimistic. Wow. A year, I guess? I don't know. We've had people go out from our training workshop and, already have some things lined up. When they get back, they signed up that week, a new client. That's not typical now. Typically, you can find our licensees signing up clients anywhere from 60 to 120 days. Yeah, it could take 4 months to get a client, but these clients can make you $30,000, $40,000 a year in revenue. So is it worth getting a client that make you that kind of money every month forever? Well, until the doctor shuts the practice or dies. So yes, this is a real business, folks. It takes some real work to get it going. But if you can get a return on your investment like many people have in our business in less than 6 months, less than a year, that's phenomenal. In today's business world, if you get in from the red ink to the black ink within 2 years, you're doing great. So don't think this is a get-rich-quick scheme, folks. This can make you a lot of money, but it's a real business that takes some real effort too. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go just a couple more slides here, and we'll get to a couple of other questions I see here from Vicki and Ram. Coaching. Folks, here's another reason why people fail. They don't have anybody to rely on when they start to look. It's lonely starting your own business. I can guarantee you that a lot of people have started a business working out of their home, and they just don't have any motivation. They don't have a mentor. They don't have a coach that they can call up and say, hey, I got a question. Can you help me? Can you guide me? We have that available for you folks. That's because, folks, our lifetime support includes having people on our staff, some of our technology partners, and even some of our licensees who've been very successful and proven that they know what they're doing. They can be a coach to other licensees. Now, I'll be upfront with you. We pay our licensees for their time, for anything that they do for us as a company. So we're going to pay them for that time, but that comes out of our pocket, not yours. Again, coaching by people like Terrence Patterson, who is one of our marketing consultants. We have a doctor, Dr. Sally Combest, who is our senior medical advisor, and Jeanette Weiler, who's a certified professional coder. These are the kinds of people that we have on our staff and in our network that can help our licensees. This is why you won't fail. We've got plenty of people that can help you once you become an ABS licensee and go through our training. Man, I lost my slides completely here. I have no idea which one I'm on. Okay, here's the next one. Here's another reason why people fail. We're on number 2 here out of those 3 points. We were on, what was that one? Reinventing the wheel. Okay, so we're past that one. Now we're in talking about product differentiation. Product differentiation means that you have something that helps you stand out amongst all the stuff that's out there. Okay, some people think of it as this. You need a competitive advantage in today's world, folks. What is it that's going to cause people to want to do business with you rather than other medical billing companies in their area? So I'm going to cover just a few things that makes you stand out from the competition that's out there. One of them is this. Now, let me slowly explain what server-based software is. Here's a nerd, a computer nerd there. I guess that's who that is. Thinking about software, and he says server-based software. Now, to illustrate that, I've taken just a generic package of software here and shown you that it's talking about a CD, right, or a DVD in some cases, that you put in your computer there, and you put it, and you load that, you install the software, right, and it resides on your computer. Do you know how dangerous that is? Do you know how many HIPAA rules and regulations, you know, the things that have to do with patient privacy, you can be breaking, how many rules you can be breaking by putting that software and keeping that data on your computer, or even the doctor's computer nowadays. Way too dangerous, folks. So there is an option to that. The server-based software, though, literally installs those disks into your computer and it resides there, and so does the data. That means if your computer is stolen, all that patient data is stolen with it. Or if the hard disk crashes, which they all eventually do, right? They're physical devices. When it crashes, not if, when it crashes, if you haven't done your backups on a regular basis, you've lost all your data. So what's the answer? Well, the answer is the cloud. You may have heard this term. Cloud-based software resides up there, out there somewhere. I know this is kind of scary when you first hear it, but you know that most of the stuff that you're using on the computer through the internet today is in the cloud, right? All of Amazon is in the cloud. Your bank is in the cloud. iTunes is in the cloud. Everything that you're doing purchase-wise is through the cloud, it's called. That's where everything is stored. But that's why we have decided to go that route, because it's much, much safer for your data. Now, our servers, just so you know, are in multiple locations, in multiple electric grids in the United States. So if one server did go down for any reason, it immediately switches over to one of the other servers. You, as the user, probably would not know that it went down. By the way, we have a 99.5% uptime. If those of you who are wondering, those of you computer nerds out there who are already wondering, well, I wonder when does computer software goes down? It doesn't. If we take the server down ourselves, the software, and shut it down, it's for only an hour or two at a time, usually on Sunday morning between 1 and 3 a.m. It's very rare that we do that, but every once in a while, if we do, then you'll know about it ahead of time. So, and we back all this up on all of our servers in different parts of the country. We back them up off-site onto devices that then we store off-site. So we have backups of backups of backups. But here's the great thing about it, folks. You can access it from anywhere in the world. Now, let me show you what I mean by that. This doesn't mean, like some software that's sold out there, that, oh, it can be cloud-based. No, we mean it's really in the cloud. It resides in the cloud. It's not, nothing is on your computer. You log in through an internet browser, and it's out there in the cloud completely. Here's how to prove that. You could take a brand new laptop to a McDonald's that has a Wi-Fi connection, and you could log in and run your business from there. That's right. If you had the ability to go to a library that had an internet connection and an open Wi-Fi connection, you could do your billing on their computer. Nothing is downloaded and resides on your computer. Now let that sink in, because there are companies who are trying to deceive people saying we have a cloud-based system. It doesn't mean that it's really residing in the cloud. They put pieces of it on your computer, pieces of it on the doctor's computer, and then some of them use a third-party program that kind of ties it all together and lets you access everything. That's not what ours is. You and all the people you give access to our system can do it from any computer that's connected to the internet, any device, as you'll see. So that's what cloud-based software is all around. And here's another way to separate yourself from others. I've already shown you some of our professional marketing materials. That will separate yourself, differentiate you from people who started their own medical billing business and printed up a flyer out of their, inkjet printer. Looks like a car wash flyer, I've seen some, believe me. Okay, and here's an illustration of why we have the ability to let you run this on any kind of tablet, or I think that's an iPad illustrated there on the left. On the right, you see a smartphone, any tablet device that has an internet connection and runs a browser. They all do. You can access our system. So here's what that means. It means that you can give access to the doctor or his staff if you wanted to, and just to certain parts of it, by the way, not the whole thing. You just give them the sections you want them to see. And the doctor could see his own reports 24/7. He could see his schedule. We have a scheduler built into this from the golf course on his iPhone and see when his next appointment is. That's how cloud-based software works, folks. And that's why it's the only way to go, All right, now before I get to this slide, let me address some more questions here. Vicki says, how long are the demos approximately? They're approximately an hour long. Now, if the doctor didn't have that much time, we can compress it down to, 45 minutes or 30 minutes if you had to, I guess. But usually it's about an hour. And that's usually because we may be finished before the hour's up, Vicki, but the doctors have lots of questions, and sometimes they take it beyond that. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's one from Ram. Once we've secured a contract, what are the most frequent issues which leads to unhappy customers? Well, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, Ram, but there is a reason why we've had licensees who have decided that they wanted to take a little break. They wanted to take a little long weekend, 3 or 4 days, and they'd go off and they wouldn't do their business while they traveled, or didn't have somebody who could do it for them, a data entry person that they'd hired and trained to do it. And they went off and didn't, and the claims stacked up for a doctor. And that will slow down the cash flow, and the doctor will see that in a week or so, right? So that's one of the reasons why people get unhappy. The only real unhappy doctors that we have are when licensees don't service them the way they should. If you are a conscientious person who wants to be successful in business, you have to serve. It's all about service, right? Customer service in today's world. If you're willing to do that, you shouldn't have any problems there. Let's see. Sherry says, would it be an advantage to have different accounts with the same doctor? Sherry, I'm not sure that I quite understand what you mean by that. Maybe you can clarify that. Okay, and I'll go on to Janet's question here. I read online that you only have one lady who answers calls whenever she wants when CPCs call for help. Wow. I'm not sure I know what that means. We have over 100 support people. Of course, we have a main switchboard that the calls go through. And then we also have voicemail that you may get from time to time. But we call people back in the order that those calls come in. Folks, we never have a problem with people saying that they can't get help from us. We're always available. We have live online chat that our licensees can use. So, no, I don't know where you got that. And whatever you read there is not true. Believe me, remember, There are review sites out there that you probably don't want to trust. Go to the Better Business Bureau in Fort Worth and ask why we have an A+ rating. Wouldn't we get some complaints with the Better Business Bureau if we weren't treating our licensees like I say that we should? Okay, let's see. This is from Umar. If we have a few data entry people and each has its own user ID, can I get a report of performance, like how many claims per day or per week each user? Yes, good question, Umar, and yes, that's all tracked. Everything is done in our system. Everybody has a different login, right? ID and password. And everything is tracked. When they logged in, when they logged out, and everything that they did while they were in the system. Yeah, you can get reports on all that. Sure. Here's Janet. Can I have the contact info of a person in California to see how he or she is doing to encourage me more? Yes. Janet, I mentioned earlier, you may not have gotten on at the time I was talking about this, but I was showing some slides, I don't know, about a quarter until the hour started there, of people, and there were people in California that are on our list of licensees who've agreed to take calls and talk with you. Yes. Get back with the person who sent you the email inviting you to this webinar. And yes, you can talk to real people. Here's Marlene. Do you have any stats on retention rate? For example, of the 250 new doctors in 2015, how many are still clients? You know, I don't know where you got that 250 number from. We had, I think, more than that. But anyway, let's say it was 250. As far as retention rates, there's no reason why we don't lose doctors. The only reason we would lose a doctor again is if the licensee was not doing what they said they were going to do. Our system is so efficient that it can bring a doctor's rejection rate from the, you know, their typical rejection rate from their clearinghouse they're using, or the medical insurance companies, from the nationwide average, which is about 30–35%. We can bring that down to less than 2%. And so the doctors stay with us. Once we've got their cash flow going, believe me, they don't want to go anywhere else. Okay, let's see. Hanny says, what fee do you generate to be collected from our revenue? All right, now, Hanny, if you're talking about the revenue that you are collecting for the doctor, you're charging anywhere from 5 to 8 or 9%. That's the nationwide average. Now, we help you with that pricing, remember, when we go over your proposal with you. But you may be also talking about how we don't generate anything from your revenue. From your money that you collect from the doctor, we don't get anything. Now, you may be referring to the fact earlier that I said that we make money on each one of the transactions. So let me clarify that, because I didn't. I'm sorry. Where we make our money, folks, is from our clearinghouse, from our technology partners that all the claims go through. They give us a rebate check each month based on the volume of claims that go through. It does not come out of your pocket. The doctor's not paying us. You're not paying us. That's all from our technology partners. Okay. Okay, we're going to go on. Let me move on a few more here. I see a few more questions coming in, but I'm going to talk about this slide. ABS has a complete system. Now, let me take this one step at a time. Let's start in the bottom right-hand corner. Do you see that box there that says Patient Portal? Patient Portal is an online system that's built into our system that the doctor can give access to their patients to go into the patient portal. And they can set appointments there, they can see their history, all of their medications are online, all their patient medical records are right there available to that patient. The patient can even update their information, and that's updated automatically into our system. So the patient portal puts all that information into our system and is available to you using iClaim, which is our cloud-based billing system, and EMRX, which is our electronic medical records that the doctor's office is using there in their office. So all of this is tied together. Now, the real key here is the clearinghouse that you see in the left-hand corner. Let me explain what a clearinghouse does, but first let me illustrate it this way. In our system, iClaim, you're doing the billing, okay? The EMRX is the system that the doctor and their staff are using, even as they're seeing the patient. The doctor could literally on an iPad be tapping our system, the big buttons that you see there, and putting in information about the patient there while they see the patient. Now, all of that, once it's in there, has to be submitted to the insurance companies to get paid, right? In most cases, the doctors and other medical billing companies are using what's called a clearinghouse. A clearinghouse is basically acts as a direct portal to the insurance companies that are out there. And they catch the errors before they go on, and they prompt you to make corrections before they submit it to the payers. That provides you with a very unique difference in the market than other medical billing services, simply due to the lower rejections and expedited reimbursements that we got for the doctor. Why? Because, folks, here's what I'm trying to say. Our clearinghouse is integrated with the system. Yeah. So it's completely integrated. I think this is a picture that illustrates that best. Here we go. You see the patient's going to the patient portal up in the upper left-hand corner. The doctor is doing what he needs to do on his iPad there as he sees the patient in EMRX. And then the clearinghouse, we just illustrated it with a building there. It's not really a building there on the screen, but that is our clearinghouse. Our clearinghouse is a part of our system. It's not a third-party entity as most clearinghouses are. We are the clearinghouse. And folks, that's why we have a nationwide rejection rate of less than 2%. Why? Because the buck stops here. We're in charge, nobody else. If the rejection rate is higher than it should be, it's our fault. This is your advantage. We have that complete system all tied together. That picture there that I skipped a while ago was just a patient portal. Okay, all right, let me go back to some questions here because, man, we're getting close to the hour here. Oh, let's see, I've already answered that one. Here's one from Shireen. How long, if you know offhand, does it take to train someone to file claims if we hire additional data entry people? You know, now again, this is just from our licensees, what we hear back here at ABS from our licensees. But I'm going to encourage you, Shireen, to call some of our licensees and ask them this question. In general, though, a person who's fairly smart and computer literate could learn how to do the data entry in a day's time, literally. Now, there are other things that you might want them to do, posting payments and reconciling and maybe generating reports and things like that, that might take a little bit more time. But when you come to our training workshop here in Dallas, we're only here for a week. So guess what? On the first day, we bring in laptops, we put them in front of you, and by the end of the day, you are processing medical claims. Now, they're fake. They don't go anywhere. But that's how simple it is. So I hope that answers that question. Now, let's see. Sherry says, do you have to renew your license? No. Sherry, our license and our certification for you is lifetime, and there's no renewal fees on that whatsoever. Sherry also says, in order to attend the live training, is it that ABS has a package deal? Now, Sherry, that must mean that you may not have researched our website as thoroughly as you could. Maybe you just jumped on here because you got the email, but we do have a licensing fee of $25,000. This is like a franchise. It's a business opportunity. You're buying the entire package, the week-long training, the lifetime support, the live demos, the use of our system, all that's included in that one fee. Yeah. Okay, here's one from John. Does the software have any functionality that assists the doctor with electronic prescriptions? Yes, John, great question. It has ePrescribe built into it, so all drugstores that can receive electronic prescriptions, our system can send with a push of a button. That's right. So Tim says, so each time you do a claim, it sends it straight to the clearinghouse individually, or do you have to do batch transfers? Great question. A lot of software Tim's referring to, especially the server-based software, you put in all the claims at the end of the day, you push a button and it connects with the clearinghouse and sends it all in a batch, it's called. So all the claims go at one time. With ours, every time you hit the submit button, since it's real time, Tim, it's going straight to the clearinghouse at that moment in time. Daniel says, what happens to the rejected claims? I think you meant to push it to there. You put the @ symbol. Okay, so what happens to the 2% rejected claims? Daniel, it's just like you've heard the old saying, you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time. Well, we can't get 100% of the claims through. Nobody can. And that's because there are some things that have been sent to that shouldn't have. maybe the doctor didn't have a system, for example, of checking on the eligibility of the patient. Now ours, it's built into our system, but I'm just saying there are human errors that are made sometimes, and people that said they were covered by the Affordable Care Act, and they weren't. So the doctor's never going to get paid. That's that 2% rejection rate. Yeah. And let's see. Oh, Joshua's asking a great question. Can we get started marketing before we get to the training in Dallas? Well, I have a slide on that, Joshua, so stay tuned, and I'll get to that slide here in just a second, because the third point of our 3 points, we're almost out of time, is sometimes people fail because they don't know what they don't know. So let me just go and jump into that. Here's the question. Great timing, Joshua. You're going to think I just made this up. But Josh and I did not coordinate this. He says, can we get started marketing before we get to the training in Dallas? We don't encourage that because you don't know. Here's why people fail. You don't know not to pre-market. Well, I'm telling you right now, don't pre-market. Why? Because some of the hottest leads that you may have in your community, Joshua, you might go out and blow that, because why? You haven't gone through our training. You don't know the answer to the questions, and you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing. So no, we don't encourage you to do that. Okay, doesn't mean people haven't done it, believe me, but we don't encourage it. Why? Who does the coding? I mean, assign the codes. Okay, Umar knows that there are codes involved in all medical claims, right? Diagnostic codes, what the doctor finds wrong with the patient, procedure codes, what they did to help the patient get well. And those codes are all numbers that there's thousands of them. And you don't have to know one of them, not a one of them. You don't have to be a medical coder. Why? Because the codes are built into our system. So Umar, you'll see when you see a demo of our system, and you can have your ABS coach actually do that for you before you become a licensee. We'll show you a demo of the system. And we'll show you live how those codes are right there in our system. The doctor can make decisions based on the codes that are already pre-populated in our system. And if they still have questions and want us to look at their current codes that they're using, for example, we have certified medical coders as a part of our network that can help you and help the doctor with those codes. Ram says, well, will there be any expenses that we have to pay when you will visit our prospective client for a demo or presentation? Oh, now remember, Ram, we're not doing those presentations live in the doctor's office. We're doing them using this technology you're seeing right here. Yeah, we're just showing it to them live. It's live, like we are right now, but we're doing it over the internet using technology. So there is no travel there. Karen says, can the ABS software interact with other software that the doctors are using? Yes, it can. Karen, there's a standard out there called HL7. HL stands for Health Level 7. And it's just a standard that all medical software is based on. I say all, I mean, there might be some really old stuff that's not based on it, but most of it is. And if the doctor's software they're using is HL7, then yes, we could import the patient demographics right into our system, for example. Okay, and the Umar says, does the fees include the hotel stay for the week? No. Umar, there is a hotel. We do our training at a Marriott Spring Hill Suites. Very nice rooms, very comfortable. They provide breakfast. We provide lunch. You can even use their van to go to the mall that's right across the street or anywhere within 5 miles of the hotel. And so you have to pay for your evening meals and your flight here, of course, in your hotel. But the hotel there is, I think we've got a special rate of about $129 a night. So again, that's something that you pay in addition to our fee. Sherry says, is it really true that doctors get paid more in a timely manner with outsourcing rather than in-house? Well, that's a pretty basic question to ask, Sherry. Thank you, because maybe I take that for granted that people understand that it is much, much more economical for doctors to do it outsourcing. We've got studies that we've done, and we can provide that to you, of doctors' costs, what they spend on their own staff and their own software and the updates and so forth versus outsourcing, and it's always cheaper, sometimes 50% less. Yeah, you'll save them money. Okay, I'm going to move right on through here, just a few more slides, and we're wrapping up, folks. Here's why people fail. They don't know what they don't know. You don't know entirely, at least most of you probably, what revenue cycle management is really all about, right? So we've illustrated it here with this diagram, folks, that it includes not only the claims preparation, but the claims submission, the claims management, and the reporting. We're going to show you how our system handles all that for you through automation, and it's not rocket science. Get it? Rocket. See the rocket crash there. It's not rocket science, and we're going to teach you how to do that. So that's one of the reasons why people fail. They don't know and don't understand. They don't understand medical terminology. Now, folks, we cover terminology in our training, and you need to know some terminology to sound like you know what you're talking about. But we'll give you the things you need to know in the week you're here to go out and look like. You will know more, I guarantee you, after our week's training than 99% of all the office managers that are out there. Yeah, it's not as hard as people try to make this business out to be, as you'll see. You'll also, you may not know what questions to ask. Well, I've mentioned the practice analysis, and I know that's hard to see on your screen there, but that is page 1 of 3 pages that we go through in our training, teaching you exactly what questions to ask the doctor to find out what you need to know to come back and prepare what's called the practice revenue report. Do you see that on the right there? This is an actual report that we did for a doctor, and you can see the bottom line is we increased their revenue, potentially, at least, when we did the report, $321,000. So, Sherry, I hope that answers your question. Yes, it's much more logical for a doctor to outsource the billing when they're going to bring in that much more money. Mashkur says, how often do you conduct training seminars? Usually around 6 to 7 weeks apart. So we have one here in September coming up, September, well, a week from this coming Monday, that's the 12th. And then 6 weeks from that, we'll probably have another one, unless it falls in Thanksgiving or something like that. Yeah. And many of the doctors in my area, Shireen says, are joining medical groups or hospitals. Does your training address how to get those clients and convince them to stay private even though our business is small? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. Excuse me just for a moment. I'm going to slide over here to my bookshelf so that I can get a copy of my new book. Me and Dr. Vicki Ratner, an ex-general surgeon, she's retired, wrote a book. It's a little paperback book you can find on Amazon. Go out there and Google it right now. Go to Amazon, look up The New Thriving Medical Practice. We just published this month. And here's what we do. We address that exact question. How to help doctors thrive and stay in medical practice. Look at the subtitle of our book. How to get off the hamster wheel, work smarter, not harder, generate more revenue, and enjoy greater career satisfaction in the era of the Affordable Care Act. Folks, this book was written for you. That's right. This is a book that's on Amazon for $24.95 because it's very valuable information for a doctor. We let you, as an ABS licensee, purchase this at our printing cost, $4 a copy. And talk about a great handout. We teach you how to mark the book up, highlight it, and put some little sticky tabs in here before you give it to the doctor, and even put your name, of course, and contact information right here in the front cover. It's a great, think about it as a business card that educates the doctor as to why they need to do business with you. Nobody else has that. Nobody else. Okay, let's see. Is there an online version of the training? Ram, you need to get with your ABS coach. If there is a reason, a real good reason why you couldn't make it down here for that week-long training, we do have materials that are available to let you do some training offline. But we're going to encourage you to continue trying to get to the training when you can. Here's one from Tim. Do you plan on raising the price from $25,000 next year, or do you think it might stay the same for another year? Tim, I have been doing everything I can to convince my board of directors that we are seriously underpriced. At $25,000, folks, one of the questions we have from people looking at our business is, if your business is as good as you say it is, Patrick, why is it so cheap? In fact, at the end of our training workshop, I've had people come up to me and say, I don't understand why you're selling this for $25,000, Patrick. Because once you come to the training, your brain, you wrap around the real potential of this business. So yes, Tim, I'm working feverishly to get that price up there. Probably we'll go to $29,990. But for now, that's it. Okay, and somebody said they're interested in reading the book soon. John, get back with your ABS coach and ask them if maybe they could give you a peek, a preview of this book in electronic format, okay? 19 says, is an Affordable Care Act the only key to sell this service? It is an Affordable Care Act. Well, that's just Obamacare. That's the term that, people use for the Affordable Care Act. Even President Obama uses that term, Obamacare. So that's all that is, 19. And no, we put that on there just because doctors will go, wow, because they're struggling right now. They thought a lot of more patients were going to have it, and some patients do, some patients don't. Folks, I know I've gone over the hour here, so I'm going to wrap it up. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this up. This is why people fail. They don't have the right support team like we do, and so there it is. Now, we are the only company that I know that does training and lets you go through our entire training workshop. I mean the entire thing. At the end of the week, if for some reason you don't think this is the right business for you, you can ask for your money back, and we'll give you every penny of that $25,000 back. Folks, we don't want your licensing fee. What we want is for you to go out and build a successful business, because we continue to make money on the back end, so to speak, as well as the front end. So you may wonder how we stay in business. Well, it's because not but a handful of people literally in the last 22 years have asked for their money back. So that tells you we have something pretty nice. And it assures you that you're not going to make a decision until you've actually set through the training.